It's Darcy Castro from TML TV. I'm here to invite you to the Magazine Lifestyle Spring launch party and charity event. It's taking place June 3rd in Nashville, Tennessee at Gavin DeGraw's Underground. Join us for celebrity appearances, a New York fashion show, food, signature drinks. Stay tuned as we reveal all our headlining acts and the legendary musician who's going to be gracing our cover. Join me on the red carpet. There's still some sponsorship opportunities available. And of course, you'll be able to catch it all on TML TV right here with your host, Darcy Castro. This fun, COVID-safe event is a benefit for Steven Tyler's Janie's Fund. You remember that Aerosmith song, Janie's Got a Gun? Well, now Janie's got a fund. And girls that have suffered abuse and neglect now have a safe place to go and programs just for them as they transition out of the foster care system. So join us, put your dollars to good work for some of our community's most vulnerable. Make a donation today straight to Janie's Fund at themagazinelifestyle.com and buy tickets for this event. Join us in Nashville, June 3rd for Rockin' for a Cause. See you there. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Darcy Castro with the Magazine Lifestyle TV. I'm super excited, I'm not gonna lie. I have a Grammy-nominated artist with us here today, someone that I love his music. It's Garrett Dutton of G Love and Special Sauce. Welcome, Garrett.
Hey, Darcy, thanks for having me.
So listen, like, do I call you Garrett? Do I call you Mr. G? Like, what do you go by?
You call me whatever. No, not Mr. Love, but yeah, people either call me Garrett or G Love, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, where did it come from? Where did the G Love come from?
Oh, I mean, so like you said, my name's Garrett Dutton. So I always had that G thing going, as like a nickname in high school and stuff. And but honestly, like when I kind of really delved into music and started performing as a street performer, I immediately wanted to have a stage name because my influences all had stage names, from the blues guys like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf to the rappers like Q-Tip and KRS-One. So to me, it was like, if I'm going to do this thing, I have to have a stage name. It couldn't just be Garrett Dutton. So yeah, so I just I started calling myself G. I started calling myself Crazy G first, and then I did G Love next, and then that kind of stuck. And then when we put the band together, the drummer said, well, what do you want to call the band? I said, well, I want to call the band Special Sauce. He goes, no, man, it's got to be G Love and something. I go, okay, G Love and Special Sauce. And then much to his dismay, and then as time went on, people said, well, how come it's always all about you? I said, hey, man, you're the one who want to call it G Love.
Oh my God, I love it. And I don't want to jump ahead because I have so many questions for you. I was so excited to talk to you today, but we're going to get to that because it sounds like some of that happened in Boston, even though you're from Philly, but we'll get to that in just a second. But, you are described as a singer, a rapper, a guitarist. I know you have an extremely loyal following. Your music, it's been the theme to every backyard barbecue of my dreams. I'll describe it that way. I love it. Your latest album is The Juice. It dropped early 2020 and it earned a Grammy nomination for Best Contemporary Blues Album. So major props, huge congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So how do you describe your music? Like I said, like for those of you that are loyal followers, it's just freaking cool. That's just how I describe it. But, tell me, like, what are your influence here? Like, how did you come up with this very unique sound?
Yeah, so, we call it the hip hop blues. And basically, I had a lyric in a song, and the song was called Product of the City. And it said, it just really happened. It wasn't thought up. This is the city and I am the product. So I think it had to do with the water. In Philly, we say water. We don't say water. But I think there was something in the water, and I mean that in the way that there was I grew up in a time when hip hop was just starting to come to the mainstream. So the soundtrack of my like early uh, you know teenage years to like becoming 18 was all like hip hop. Run DMC, LL Cool J. There was a radio program in Philadelphia called Street Beat with Lady B on Power 99 FM, and that would be the first time you heard Public Enemy, KRS One, Boogie Down Productions, and a lot of like kind of underground rap, or just a little more hardcore than like Run DMC. Well, Run DMC and LL Cool J, yeah, but like also DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. So long story short, there's a lot of Philadelphia hip hop coming out of Philadelphia that I was being exposed to because I grew up right in the city, and so I was living this whole kind of like hip hop lifestyle, like writing graffiti and listening to hip hop and breakdancing and all this kind of stuff, and then the other side of me was a kid who was kind of playing acoustic guitar and learning folk music, Beatles songs, Bob Dylan songs, and then later kind of questing for something different. I found the Delta Blues, and I found this John Hammond record called Country Blues, and that really kind of opened the doorway to going back and finding all of the Delta Blues people like Robert Johnson and Son House and Mississippi Fred McDowell and all these people. So so I was really pursuing the Delta Blues, but then one day I was a street performer and I started rapping this lyric from an Eric B. and Rakim song called Paid in Full over my blues groove, and it was like the light
Magic.
shone down on me, and it was really like an epiphany in my life. And later that week I wrote, because I realized I realized that at that moment when it was happening, like that there's no one else doing this. Like there's no kid playing acoustic guitar and rapping, because in 1991 that wasn't happening, right? So and I knew it because I was tuned into what was happening, right? And so it was like, yeah, this is it. And then that was my pathway. So that was the hip hop blues. And then and it just goes to the point, like when people always ask me, they say, do you have any advice for younger musicians? Well, I would say the most important thing you can do is to be original, right? You got to find something, find some niche, you know what I mean? Unless you're such a great singer, such a great guitar player that you can do something kind of very like everyman kind of thing, but so well, you know what I mean? So, but the rest of us, you got to find something original, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you've been making music since, well, you've been performing since 93, I read, but your debut album was released in 94. 17
Right.
albums to date.
Whew.
Holy smokes.
And I'm working on a new one right now.
Oh my God. And and you've been out on tour. I mean, but you carved out some time to meet with us today here at TML. Thank you. I mean, I know it's a lot of work, and I love hearing about all this though. So from the streets of Philly, but then the band, so with Special Sauce, was born in Boston. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I had moved to Boston in 1992 because in Boston they had a program where you could get a street performer's permit, right? So you go to Inman Square in Cambridge to the city hall, and you get for $25 at the time, you get your street performer's permit. So in Philadelphia, you could and you would get run off by the cops. So now this is like, and I think back on that and like how that really like and now I live up in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and so really my whole life kind of movement geographically anyhow has been based around that arts program set up by the city of Cambridge. So I just think like hats off to them for recognizing, look, people can make a living from being a street performer, but it should be like licensed, so and people are real deal. So anyway, that's what led me up there, and then playing on the street led me to some early gigs, and then I met my drummer, and then we put the band together in the December of '93, no, no. In December of '92, we put the band together, and then by October of '93, right, uh, we signed our major label record deal with Epic Records.
Wow.
So once we got the band together, man, things just started like cracking, and we played all the Irish pubs and then all the local venues in Boston, and we were close enough to New York to be able to drive down and like showcase for the record labels and stuff like that. So it was really like it was a magical time, and then everything happened so fast. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
Yeah, seriously. And then Woodstock in 99
Oh
and
yeah,
And a Grammy nod in 2020, 2021. So
keep
yeah,
it going, man.
I mean, look at you. It's awesome. And the music's so good, you guys. So seriously, here's my pitch. Like, if you haven't listened to G Love and the Special Sauce, you need to, I mean, Apple Music, Pandora, whatever, go find it, Spotify. It's all good. I mean, you will not be disappointed. So creative, so fun. So 2020 to obviously was the total curveball for all of us.
Sure.
And you just released The Juice, right, in January of 2020. So I'm sure you had all sorts of plans for that year. Everything comes to a screeching halt. So how have you adapted to that? Like, people love to come and see you live. You know, you perform all the time. So what did it look like for you this past year?
Yeah, it was just kind of about staying fluid and figuring out our way the whole way, and just kind of, that was it. And so we hit the ground running, a year ago. This time a year ago, I just got home from tour. Kind of panicked for that. Every band in the land across the world went home on March 13th, 2020. Okay, so now we're just over a year, right? So, so yeah, we kind of panicked for a week, and then, I started doing Zoom guitar lessons, and we started doing, live streams on the socials to benefit, like, us, and also, like, I did the first one for my band and crew, and then we would do for staffs, the local staff from different venues we play around the country, right? So we were trying to give back as we're trying to keep some kind of income coming in as well. And and like a lot of people don't, people don't realize, like, whatever, like, I don't know how people perceive me, but we're just kind of regular people. Like, we've done well over the years, but like, I have to work, and my work is playing music. So it's like, when that's cut off, it's like, well, we also have to make money. So it's kind of weird to, like, it was kind of like going right back to street performing, because you're literally putting a tip jar up, and so that's kind of, it is what it is. But like you said earlier, man, our fans are so supportive, and they were so supportive from the beginning, and still are. So then, like, when things started warming up, we started doing like super social distanced, kind of backyard shows, and we were able to do them in New England, in the summer and the fall, and then we went to Florida, where they hadn't got the memo that there was like a pandemic. It's kind of whoa, okay, well, do you know these things called masks and stuff? Oh, okay, well, we gotta go. But like, and then we went south, and now it's starting to warm up again now. So long story short is that, like, our industry really got its butt kicked, and across the board, just starting to percolate back into life right now. And so right now, long story short, if you want to book a private G Love backyard barbecue, socially distanced, you can email us at gloveshows@gmail.com. And honestly, it's been mom and pops. Like, my wife Kelsey's been kind of running the show, while the regular kind of main business of the music business is kind of on, just kind of shut down still. So we'll see what happens. I just noticed that Bonnaroo just got announced yesterday. So, it'd be interesting to kind of see what happens now that the vaccine's becoming more prevalent. And things are starting to show some signs of coming back to life. And then, but I will say, there's been a lot of silver lining just to be home, to decompress, to be with my family, and yeah, it's been so there's been some real silver lining too, you
Yeah,
know.
you've probably been on the road a lot over the years.
Yeah, and now I'm on the road in our suburban with my Bose PA, um, with the family and the dogs and showing up in people's
I love it.
backyards.
That's so awesome. I love it.
It's
And I
fun.
like how you said that too. I mean, you're just a working guy, right? Like, if there's this misperception that like anybody with any sort of fame is independently wealthy, it's like, I got to work for it, right? And things have
Yeah.
changed a lot. I wanted to ask you about that. So, when you first started putting out records in '94, records, CDs, people don't really buy CDs anymore, right? Like, we don't go to Tower Records in the middle of the night and flip through CDs and, buy physical music endlessly. It's a streaming game now. It's not even the download game. So, you know, how has that changed for you? How are you adapting in the digital era, and what advice do you have to other up and coming musicians?
Yeah, actually, my last record, The Juice, that had a limited run of CDs. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy CDs. I guess a couple people still buy them. We
Mm-hmm.
make vinyls for most people that
Right.
want a physical thing or into a vinyl. So we got vinyls. And yeah, streaming and so I mean that's a question that could last for like a whole day long seminar,
Million
but
dollar question right now.
well, no, I mean, long story short is that it's not new. It's just that it happened in 2001 with Napster and caught the music business with their pants down,
Yeah.
and the music business never quite recovered. Now it's more regulated, but it's still the streaming thing is still like a really like crappy deal for
Yeah.
musicians, all in all.
Right.
So if you do like love an artist and you want to like support them, to buy a physical record or to go to a live show or to buy their merch is the
Merch.
best way,
Yeah.
because it's really like minuscule
Yeah.
pennies to the dollar is what we get per stream.
Right.
So that being said, you know, um, making records, right? Make you gotta still make records though, because making records, the process of creatively creating and releasing new material kind of is the
Yeah.
fundamental kind of catalyst to keep everything moving forward, from your live shows to everything.
Yeah.
So but long story short is like kind of have to make better records for cheaper. You got to work harder for less, right? You gotta you know um you know you got to realize that you're not going to sell a lot of records, right?
Mhm.
So you hopefully your streaming numbers will do good, but you can't really count on like back in the 90s, right, when it was a lot different. For one thing, with
Mhm.
Epic Records writing 250 to $350,000 checks for you to make each record,
Yeah.
right? And you're able to put some of that money away, or sometimes not. Like they just want you to spend
Right.
everything until it's gone. And
Right.
and so there was always a thing like that if you release a record, it was like kind of like buying a lottery ticket, because you never know, you obviously you're trying to write hits, but then when you release them, it's there's so much involved. But there's always that thing. This could be the record that could put me like Dr. Dre or any like huge rock star, like and make that type of money. But anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not really a reality so much anymore. Like the chances of that happening are really hard.
Yeah.
So it's a working thing, and it's to luckily for us, the live shows have always been our bread and butter, and like our where we really excel at. So
Mhm.
um, people still seem to want to come out and see music, and even now, I know that people are jonesing to see live shows and have that human interaction. So you know,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
the fans, man. Again, it goes back to the people that love your music enough to come to see the shows.
Yeah.
Buy a ticket and
Mhm.
enjoy what you're trying to bring them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know some smaller artists too utilize things like Patreon. You can support there.
Yeah.
their work through becoming a subscribing member, if you will.
Yeah.
But I love that, because I always feel like, well, what's the best avenue? Should I be using Apple Music? Should I be using Pandora? Should I be using Spotify? Like, what's better for the artist? Are there any, or just clicking subscribe to the artist pages through the service? Like, that's all goes as a means to an end there?
Um, I think Spotify's. I think I read Spotify and Amazon give the best royalty rate.
Oh, okay.
Um, but actually, the other thing I was doing a lot this year was doing. I didn't do the Patreon thing. I just. Well, one thing, the thing that I started doing was the cameos.
Mhm.
So if you guys know, there's a Cameo app or online cameo.com, and you can
Mhm.
get shout outs from like your
Oh, that's
favorite
cool.
celebrity. So
Yeah.
everybody from like Gary Busey to Caitlyn Jenner to G Love's on there,
Oh my God.
and I must have sung Happy Birthday like 600 times this year, but that's been
That's great.
awesome
Most
because
people love it. I'd be
it's a
so
yeah,
stoked to get that. Yeah.
it's like a really
Creative.
great connection with the fans, and
Mhm.
it helps us keep the lights on. So that was cool.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I want to ask you a little bit about, like, pivoting just a tiny bit here, like, in listening to your music and seeing your videos and seeing your album covers, and now just seeing what you got going on there in the music room. It seems like the lines are kind of blurred for you with like the visual art and the recording music. So, I mean, how do those two go hand in hand for you?
Yeah, like behind me are works by this artist named Greg Haberny, and over here is this street artist named Katsu. That's a really cool piece, actually. That's a drone painting. He's like a street artist that programs a drone.
Oh,
So
wow.
that he programmed a drone to paint a picture of Marilyn Monroe. That's a series of Marilyn Monroe
Wow.
portraits. But it's probably some of the first drone paints. But yeah, I've always been interested in the visual arts,
Mhm.
and I paint some myself and sell my paintings. But I've always like, so there's this wonderful art festival called Art Basel
Mhm.
Week in Miami, and it's like the first weekend of December every year, and there's just the whole art world's down there, and I've been going down there since like 2008, and playing like some of the gallery pop-ups and stuff like that, and I'd always take the money that I made during that week and buy upcoming artists. That's how I met Greg. At
Yeah,
my
that's
very
cool.
first one, I bought that piece.
That's awesome.
And now I have the largest collection of Greg Haberny work probably of anybody in the world. And there's a lot of artists that we have. So yeah, it's just a real passion of ours. And for me, I when I'm home and I'm surrounding myself with visual things that inspire me, right? Um, it's like coming into me and coming out through my music. So I'm an aesthetic kind of guy, and yeah, I'm all about it, and also just about also supporting other artists that are
Right.
in a different medium.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. I love that, how their creativity inspires your creativity.
Yeah.
Probably vice versa too. That's pretty cool. I know you're friends with celebrity chef Kevdi. He's somebody that he's on the magazine right here. So we're gonna. And the
Oh,
funny
really?
thing is literally he was just calling my phone. It's
Okay, cool.
Chef Kevdi on the phone.
No,
But I know, so this is our print edition, and we are going to feature you in our next edition, which is a
oh,
live music edition, celebrating all things music and how the joy that it brings to our life, especially right now as we're, all seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So definitely, folks, I want to make sure that you check that out because you'll get to read a little bit more Garrett in that. But, before I let you go, I just have one more question for you, G. So, what's your spark? And how do you make that happen for your fans?
I think just the kind of the love of playing music, and
Mhm.
you know, over the years kind of figured out like what's my mission. Well, it's really to make people happy and to inspire people and to bring love, and especially, you know, especially for always. Not right now,
Yeah.
and I was gonna say especially right now, but I mean the world's a messed up place, and
Mm.
the more love that we can love and understanding and empathy that we can bring to any type of personal interactions that we have on very small local levels, and then that's going to lead to just greater things for our community and our society. So when I think about, yeah, what I'm trying to do, it's to continue to spread love and through my music, and and when I get on stage and I got the guitar in my hand and the microphone, and I feel like $1,000,000, and there's nothing like that feeling that comes over me when I get to do my thing and do my craft, and you know it makes me happy, and just trying to just exude that energy, and that's it. Just kind of that's it, and I think that it comes through, and we work hard, and like an athlete or whatever, we train to be ready for the moment that we get that opportunity, and you know and you don't want to disappoint anybody that spent their hard-earned money to come see you play, so it's just a thing, man. You gotta step up, and just be ready to bring the love.
Yeah. Well, gee, I got to tell you, as a fan from the outside looking in, that is exactly the feeling I get when I listen to your music. It's so good. It's so good. So creative. It's such a soundtrack of life. I just love it. And so many great collaborations, and just, it's awesome. It's awesome sauce, if
Thank
you will. So folks, make sure and check out G Love and the special sauce at Philadelphonic.com. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. Philly born and bred. I love it. Thank you so much for being with us, G, today. And folks, check him out in the next print edition of the magazine Lifestyle. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys.